And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with the Game Boy Geek.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we are going to be running and trying not to stop. Doesn't matter if you see that stop sign looking in your face. We don't want to stop, we want to keep pressing our luck. We're talking about a game here called Can't Stop. It's for 2 to 4 players. It is a simple family style press your luck dice rolling game from Griffin Games, designed by one of my favorite designers, the late great Sid Sackson. So let's take a look at how this is played. I'll see you on the other side. So here's the board at Can't Stop. We got it set up for 2 players. Each player takes traffic cones of the color of their choice. There's 4 dice and 3 white traffic cones. What you're trying to do is you're trying to get your cones all the way up to the top of any 3 of these numbers. The first person to do that wins. Let's talk about how a turn works. So on your turn, you're going to roll each 4 dice. I like to put them in like a little square because it makes it a little easier to look at. And I like to go rows first. So we have 6 plus 3. So we have 9, and 6 plus 5 and 11. So we have 9 and 11, or we can choose, looks like a columns, 8 and 12, or even diagonal, 11 and 9. So we have 9 and 11 in 2 different ways, and we have we have 8 and 12. So 9 and 11 or 8 and 12. Let's take 8 and 12. I'll put the white cone on 8 and a white cone on 12. Now look, 12, I only need 2 more 12s to get this and control this. And that would be good, but obviously 12s are a lot harder to roll, which is why you only need, 1, 2, 3 of them to get it, whereas 7 is the number most logically, or the most often rolled with 2 dice, and that's why it's the one that takes the longest to get to. Now there's 1 white cone left, which means at this point it's going to make sense for me to keep rolling. So I have the dice here, and I roll. Ooh, look at this, 12 and 2. So I could, again, take a 7 and 7, which will allow me to go up twice on the 7s. I could take 12 and 2, and the other, even diagonal is 7 and 7. So it's either 7 and 7 or 12 and 2. So I can either move this last cone up 2 because one of them was 7 and 7, or I could go up 12 and 2. So I go up 1 on 2 and 1 on 12. Ooh, wow. So now I got a choice to make. I can either stop or keep rolling. If I stop, I remove these white cones and I place one of my green cones in the space, and this is sort of like saving my spot. So later on in the game, if I screw up and I do a bad roll, I can always start from here the next turn. But if I decide to roll again and I don't get any combination of either a 2 or a 7 or a 12, I lose, and essentially I lose everything that I've made since that turn. This is the first turn, so I would lose everything. But let's just say, for example, I was here from a previous turn, and when I moved up the double, this is the 8, let's say I had moved there. Now, if I had tried to roll again and I didn't roll any combination of a 2, an 8, or a 12, well, all these would go away, and I would have to start back there for the next turn. But if I had stopped there, let's just say I stopped here, then this essentially would go here, this would go here, and this would go here. So those are sort of my checkpoints to start for the next round. So you're constantly trying to figure out whether you should keep rolling or whether you shouldn't. Just for fun, let's see what happens here. I need a 12, a 2, or an 8. Let's go here. Oh my gosh, I got it. Unbelievable. 12 and 5. So now I have a 12 going this way in columns, 12 and 5. Well, I can't do the 5 since I already have all 3 white cones out. So I'll just move the 12, and at this point I would logically just stop. Because now that this is here, even if I were to roll a 12 next time, it wouldn't really count. Next time, if I kept rolling, I would need to get an 8 or a 2, which makes it harder. So usually when you get to the top and you stop there, man, I am stopping. I am just going to stop there, I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to stop here. And that would be the end of my turn, and then it would go to the next player's turn, who would be blue. They would start rolling, and then again, let's say they got a 2, they can go on spots that somebody else went. Let's say this is what they rolled, like that. Let's just say they stopped. This can be like this. You can stack them like this. There's some variants that say that if you want a harder game, you can make it so that you can't be on the same spot, but it's legal to do that. And essentially, this just keeps going all the way, pushing your luck until the point of someone gets any 3 numbers, and then that ends the game. All right, another Sid Sackson great game. Jeez, this guy's amazing. You think of Acquire, and you think of Venture, and you think of Sleuth, you think of I'm the Boss. I could go on and on how many great games this guy was way ahead of his time. Again with this one, it seems so simple. You show someone how to play this game, and you see it, and it's like, well, it doesn't look like anything special. I'm just rolling dice and moving. How fun could this be? But when you're sitting in that seat and you're trying to push your luck, I don't know, it invigorates this feeling of you that's just fun. This little like, oh, I can do one more. I can roll a 7 or a 9 or a 2. Let's go. And oh man, and then you watch other people do it and everyone giggles and laughs because they got to move down. It's just a simple game. It's great for families. It's fun. It helps with addition with kids. And it is one of my favorite Press Your Luck games now. It's a classic. I'm kind of kicking myself that it's taken me so long to actually play this one. But it's been around for a long time, and I can see why. It's got classic Sid Sackson written all over it, which is simple elegance. That's it. Simple rules, yet it's fun. And you think something like this would just get old, but it's so funny the way that the dice work and the way of you're kind of gambling to play it or not stop. It just always brings good experiences. We always end up laughing about it afterwards. It's just a very fun, light dice rolling Press Your Luck game. Very simple, very fun. I highly recommend. Can't stop.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.